One other college athletics note. We got a new member of the Valley, baby.
Yeah.
Murray State
This
is
is exciting.
officially joining the Missouri Valley Conference for
Yep.
basketball right now, starting
For
in
all
July.
sports, not football. Correct.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
All
I didn't word that right. For all sports, not football right now, because the Missouri Valley Football Conference is, while related, I heard someone describe it. The Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Missouri Valley Conference aren't really brother sister. They're like cousins. So they're a little separated. They're different families, but they're also the same family, if that makes sense.
Some of them are the same family.
Yes. So Murray State is joining July of 2022 this year. This is their last year in the OVC. Is that the same as Belmont? Is Belmont also joining July of this year? I believe so too. So that makes 11 for the Valley. If only Loyola hadn't bolted for the Atlantic 10, we'd have a perfect 12-team conference. But the talk is that there is going to be a 12th member eventually, but they are still discussing with multiple other schools. I know probably 85-90% of our audience doesn't really care about the Valley, but me and Logan, the Valley runs deep with us. We are huge Valley fans. We love mid-major basketball. We love FCS football. So this has us excited, especially Logan, because conference realignment is his favorite.
I love conference realignment.
As much as he loves conference realignment, he hates college football playoff system that much as well. Like it's like a give and take for him. So we're gonna fanboy over this a little bit. It's something that we talked about and we've talked offline about for years. This relationship was too perfect for it not to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I know that for a long time, the word was that Southern didn't really want this to happen.
Yeah.
Just geographically speaking, they're very close to one another, which, Southern, a lot of good chunk of the students that Southern's trying to pull are the same students that Murray State's trying to pull. So, they're looking at it from an enrollment standpoint. Yes, Craig included. They're looking at it certainly from an enrollment standpoint. So that was one of their biggest issues with it a few years ago when this was on the table the first time. Geographically speaking, I think it's huge for the Valley. I mean, it's huge for Southern. I mean, that's the school obviously both of us went to, but now they've always been relatively close to some of these, but now you add two more schools in Murray State and Belmont that are within a 2 to 3 hour drive, which is going to be nice for, a lot of the sports, not just for basketball. I think it's a great addition. I think it fits perfectly within the footprint of what they're trying to do. I know there's been the hesitation because they're trying to add bigger markets. They're trying to branch out from their markets that they're currently in. And Murray State doesn't really fit that. It's in a very small town that's not outside of their reach at all. But it is a basketball powerhouse in terms of that level. It is a basketball traditional school. They got a good baseball program. Right now they have a pretty good women's basketball team. I think that makes
with an Oakwood star.
Yes, with Caitlin Young, absolutely. Which, as I mentioned on Twitter the other day, it could be great for her friends and family, because those trips down to OVC schools outside of Eastern, which was obviously close, but as opposed to driving to Tennessee States and going all the way out to Moorhead and all these schools, now they're Indiana State, Illinois State, Bradley, Southern, Evansville, Valparaiso, potentially UIC. Like, these are all really close for her family. But yeah, I mean, I just think it makes all the sense in the world. I do think the next move will be Illinois Chicago, to continue to be in the Chicago market. I know they've also talked about Kansas City, and they've also talked about UT Arlington. But I think UIC makes the most sense to keep Chicago. I think that's obviously the biggest city in the Midwest. So, and if it's right there in your geographic reach, I think that's something they need to do. So you get UIC, and I think it's a really strong mid-major 12-team conference.
Yeah, I tweeted it. I said, with the addition of Belmont and Murray State, who I feel like those two schools have gotten the OVC automatic bid probably each of the last 15 years. One of the two has won that conference. So you bring them into the Missouri Valley. This could be a conference that on the occasion gets 3 or 4 teams in, because I feel like there's always one MVC school that's in talks for an at-large bid, and then they don't win the conference tournament. So then there's that at-large potentially, and then there's that conference tournament winner. So with these two programs, it could turn into a conference that gets 3 or 4 bids once every 5, 6, 7 years. Now, it's not going to be consistently a 3 or 4 bid league, but it could happen on the rare occasion where a couple teams are really good, because Belmont and Murray State are great athletic program or basketball programs. Murray is a school that I was close to going to, so it's weird, not weird. It's just like a clash, worlds colliding for me. My dad did go to Murray. My dad is a Murray.
Really?
My dad is a Murray State grad. And I think one of his brothers also went there, who still lives down in that area.
How far is Murray from Pinckneyville?
It's probably 3 hours, because it's pretty far south of Paducah, and Paducah takes about an hour and a half to get to. But my dad is from like an hour south of Pinckneyville, is where he was from. So, so it was a shorter drive for him coming out of high school to go down there. So yeah, it's a school that my family is pretty close to. My dad and my uncle all attending there. So it's cool. I've texted with both of them about it, and they both said it should have happened a long time ago as well. So we're all really excited for that as well. Back when Belmont was added, me and Logan talked extensively on and off air again about who we wanted to see next. And he sent me a screenshot on Twitter of someone's tiers of who they wanted. Do you remember that?
Sort of, but I didn't.
I did my own, and I've kind of had it hidden for the next time that we had the conversation, but I didn't expect this to happen now. So my tier 1 was Murray State, Milwaukee, UIC, and UMKC. That was my tier 1. So I've got one of those, and it looks like I'll get the other one with UIC for my tier 1. My tier 2 was Logan's favorite, Grand Canyon. Kind of jokingly, because I knew that's never going to happen, but I would love to see it. But my tier 2 was all of the other football conference schools that I think could fit. So North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Western, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Youngstown. It would just seem like an easy move to bring whichever basketball program you wanted, or whichever whole athletic department you wanted to bring to the Valley from whatever conference they're in.
Do you think North Dakota State's next move is up?
Yeah, I think someone's going to grab their football program.
And when that happens, does everybody go up? Does everybody go to that conference, or is it just football, do you think?
I think it probably depends on the conference. I don't know what the best fit for them is. Are they a Pac-12? Because they're not good enough to be a Pac-12 school. So are they they're not going to go to Conference USA. Maybe a Mountain West. Yeah, maybe a Mountain West.
That makes the most sense.
Then they would take all athletic programs, because I think that conference is full scope. But those were my top 2 tiers. I had tier 3 and 4, but they were like stupid schools that are very, very small that would never fit. So I want to hook my train. Is that the saying?
Yes. Roll with that.
I want to hitch my wagon. I want to hitch my wagon to Milwaukee. I like the UIC fit, but I also like Milwaukee. So if it's one of those two, I will be happy, but I don't know which one would be better.
I'm with you. I would almost prefer Milwaukee, but I don't think they can afford to lose Chicago.
Yeah.
I think the Valley knows how important that city is. From a competitive standpoint, would Milwaukee be better than UIC on probably most sports? Probably, yeah. But I think Chicago as a market is too important, especially when one of the schools you just added is Murray State, who, as great as a great of a program as they are, you got to add somebody that's going to, bring in some people. And I think that's the whole purpose of this. So if I love the Milwaukee idea, but I think if you're stopping at 12, if your next move is for number 12, I think it's got to be UIC. I think you have to stay in Chicago.
But okay, you add UIC, is the quarter of Chicago that you get with UIC, because you've got Northwestern, you've got DePaul, you've now got Loyola Chicago, who is would you call them a national name now? I would certainly think so. You have 3 national names already in Chicago. Does that percentage of Chicago that you get with small UIC, is that better or equal to a whole Milwaukee?
I mean, that's certainly a good question.
Does that argument make sense? Does that math make sense?
I think there's a lot more that goes to it. I don't think it's just a matter of how many UIC fans there are in Chicago. Yeah. I think you're talking about the TV market. I think you're talking about, putting up billboards across the city. I think it's more than just the number of people that are UIC fans and UIC alum. I think it is such a big city that I think just having a Valley school in the city means a lot more than just the number of fans.
And you've also probably got a more alums of Valley schools combined in Chicago than you do in Milwaukee.
And you're trying to essentially, all 11 of these schools are ultimately trying to increase, all 12 of these schools, or all in this case 11, because everybody outside of Chicago are trying to increase enrollment. That is ultimately what their job is. Yes, they want to be good on the basketball court, the football field, and they need money and all these things. But their goal as a university, and those are the people that are making these decisions, their goal is to increase enrollment. And when you have a school in the 3rd biggest city in the country in your footprint, no more than 6 hours, 7 hours away from any of your schools, I think that's more important than Milwaukee. Yes.
Yep.
Or Kansas City or Arlington. Kansas City makes sense geographically. Milwaukee makes sense geographically. Arlington really doesn't. I've never understood that. I don't get that move. I don't know. Again, you're trying to reach out. I think Chicago is just too important to not get that market at this point.
Totally agree. When Loyola left, that was the first thing I looked at, is who in Chicago could the MVC get, and UIC is really the only one left. So
Chicago is no big. I mean, other than really LA, most big cities aren't really full of huge colleges that are known for this stuff. I mean, Chicago has Northwestern, which is a prestige institution in the Midwest, but it's not a sports powerhouse. DePaul has not been a sports powerhouse. Loyola has made a name for itself on the basketball floor. Yeah. But it's not full of, top institutions that every conference is going to be banging down the door to get.
What a rise for Loyola too. From Horizon. Were they Horizon before?
Yes.
Horizon to Atlantic 10 in a span of 5 or 6 years. That's crazy. It's a crazy
what glow up.
Crazy what can happen when you don't have a football program tied to your athletic department.